look back, it's too late now. My days are hours and I don't know how, but I believe the great is still yet to come. I won't stop fighting, man, until I'm done.
Good morning and welcome to the 76th Breakfast Ball. I'm your host, Bob Cardia, and thank you for all the support we've been getting lately. It's been much appreciated. If you like what we're doing, please smash the like button. We're getting there. We're getting there. So I want to crack right open today the topic at hand. Hit the reset button. For those of you who watched the U.S. Open yesterday, Spaun actually came back and he won the U.S. Open. Now, in and of itself, that doesn't sound unexpected, but the man bogeyed 5 of the first 6 holes. I believe that I think he put a 40 up on the front 9. So at that point, if you're a golf fan or even a casual golf fan, you have to look at that and say, oh my goodness, he's done, he's out. And then something happened that happened actually at the Players' Championship also. Mother Nature intervened. A rain delay came, and he took that opportunity to reset. Now, what do I mean by reset? Well, he met with his coaches, he met with his team, and they all sat back and said, you know what? You may have bogeyed 5 of the first 6, but you're not out of this. Oakmont, honestly, is probably one of the, if not the toughest venue for the U.S. Open, for any major for that matter. So he figured the pack would be coming back to him. If you look at Scottie Scheffler yesterday, it would have been the largest comeback in U.S. Open history, but he got within like 3 shots of the lead with 1 hole to play. Actually, and if you'd watched it, if you made a few of those putts, several putts over the stretch from the late front 9 through the mid back 9, he lipped out 2 or 3. If those had gone in, he could have won. And we all know about Scottie Scheffler's belief system, so he thought he still had a chance. But the bottom line is, what JJ did is he changed his clothes, right? He reset his mind, and he went back out there. Now, a lot of my friends were texting me throughout the show or the broadcast, and they were talking about who did I think was going to win. And I think with about 4 or 5 holes to play, I said Spaun. That's the guy that I think is going to do it. And for no other reason that he put himself in that position at the Players. And like I said on a previous podcast, I thought that Rory, after loss after loss after loss, learned how to win. Now, a good friend of mine is also, Spaun's new. Spaun is not new. He's been on the tour for 9 years. He's made a decent amount of money, as he mentioned. But, I guess at one point he was asking himself, is this my job? Is this my career? And he hit a reset button on that as well. And basically what he did with that, he took the pressure off himself. And he said, if this was meant to be, this was meant to be. I have the talent. And the loss, listening to him speak later, the loss to Rory McIlroy actually was one of the best things that had happened to him. Because what he did at that point, he's like, Rory is won the career Grand Slam. He's one of the few players ever to do that. So that instantly makes him a legend and a Hall of Famer. And he's like, if I can make up ground on Rory McIlroy, reset during the rain delay, and drive this thing to a playoff, I belong to be here. I belong out here. And that increases belief system. So yesterday, when he got into the same position, guess what? That's what he believed. He believed that he could do it. So that loss created a gain in his mental aspect. Now, let's parallel that or compare that, contrast it to Rory. I'm not sure what's going on with Rory right now, but in my mind, when he won the Grand Slam, that was probably going to open the floodgate to, a ton of untapped talent and potential. So, not sure what's going on, but I think he probably could use that reset button also. I've never seen Rory. He's basically shunning the press and throwing a club here or there. And when he broke that tee marker out on, I forget, was it 17, 18, whatever he was, um, not a fan of that. I've been a fan of Rory, but like, it just sets the wrong example for a lot of the young players out there, the players that I work with. You know, it's okay to get angry, but as a man I played with in the World Teachers Cup qualifier years and years ago, a man named Henry Van Antwerp, um, he's like, Bob, don't carry. He had a South African accent, and I don't carry meaning what? Don't carry your emotions from, one shot to another. You have to reset. Now, all this sounds remarkably easy, I know, but we know in life and in golf, and this is a sports psychology show, so this works, with the golf theme, but this works in life as well. They're talking to Spaun, and they're saying to him, did your mental approach change? Uh, Interesting, right? Basically, what he's saying is he reset his golf game, his life, his goals. And when he got to that point, he's like, I know this is going to be hard, especially at Oakmont. He reset his brain. He listened to everybody complaining, bitching about how bad, how tough the golf course was. And truth be told, when I was answering questions the other day at my group instruction that I do on Saturdays, I was getting questions about did I think Oakmont was fair, and yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the entire field being over par at a major. At some point, it's you want it to be the greatest skill, the most skilled players win, but lady luck, random, if you hit a ball into an area where the pedestrians had or the patrons rather had matted the grass down as opposed to being 1 foot right or left. I think there's a degree of too much of a degree of luck in those lies. So I don't know, but that's it. They asked Spaun about it, and he's like, "I knew it." He goes, and it gets back to an old Jack Nicklaus story about the British Open, but he was just listening to everybody complain about it, and he was like, "Well, it's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard. It's going to be probably the hardest test of golf that I'm going to encounter." And when you put yourself in that mindset, okay, if you set your mind to say, hey, this is going to be hard, then when you run into some obstacles or some bad luck, he got a couple bounces out there that were just flat out ridiculously unfair. But he accepted it and moved on, which reminds me of the old Jack Nicklaus story. I believe it was at the Open Championship. And he was walking down the tee line, and guy after guy was bitching about the weather. It's awful, it's awful, it's awful. And I have a Rutgers story similar to that too. But every time he walked by that guy, he said, I got that guy beat, I got that guy beat, I got that guy beat. And it's true. If you set your mind to be prepared for difficulty, as in life also, like if let's say starting your own business, for example. I got a good friend, Chris Hammerquist, who I was talking to actually this morning, who's working on his own business. I mean, you got to know, most businesses don't succeed. It's going to be hard. But if you keep battling away, you keep fighting away, and you keep, take your victories, savor your victories more than your defeats. And importantly, like I said about Spaun and I said about Roy at the time, is learn from your failure. Right? We talk about it every week on this show. We don't lose. We either win or we learn. And, it sounds easy. All this sounds cliche, but it's the flippin' facts. Like, if, I draw on that myself. To do 76 podcasts in a row, people saying, hey, it's too much work to do this. First of all, I like spreading the message. I do. And second of all, I'm looking now, we're over 750,000 views in the past year. The message is getting out there, albeit slow. But that's okay. You know what? I'm fine with that. I'm also fine with it blows up, but if it takes a while to get there, it does. So understand this, right? Lesson of the day. When things get tough, okay, understand it's tough for everybody. 2, if you find yourself in a mental doldrum, or you find yourself thinking, less than well, reset. Okay, and it could be a physical reset, like Spaun said, he changed his clothes, went with his people, reset his mind. Some people meditate, but understand reset. Okay, because you're not always going to be in the best mood. So if you can reset, that's great. And number 3, right? Always learn. All right. Never say I lost. Always learn. Anyway, if you like what we're doing, say I love the breakfast ball in the comment section. You're going to get put in the drawing for a free Starbucks gift card. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Remember, when you're rich and famous, we get 10%. Anyway, have a great day, guys. I look forward to seeing you next week. Keep watching the breakfast ball. Smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Glass of bourbon, ha. My bourbon, ha. My bourbon, ha. Alcohol. There's no great story ever started with, I'll have a salad.